Union rights and corporate control is on the front burner again in the country. And yes, the Dangote Nupeng feud, the showdown, is the focus today on Homo Politicus. Welcome to Homo Politicus. This is Enterprise Television. Kingsley Bassey is my name. Well, today we're talking, as mentioned, that particular matter. And yes, this is what we are having a conversation for. We turn attention to the matter that continues to stir controversy among oil tanker drivers, labor unions, big business, and government corridors alike. Well, this talk about the tense feud between Nupeng, that's the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, and the Dangote Group over unionization rights, working conditions, and what many are calling anti-union agenda is what we're talking about. And here's what you should know really. So at the start of this month, September, Dangote announced plans to, well, not just this month. In fact, some months before now, he did announce plans to bring in thousands of compressed natural gas trucks to handle the distribution of petroleum products across the country. That was before September, right? And so this month, with the plan in place now to take effect, Nupeng raised the alarm that some of the newly recruited drivers were reportedly being hired under strict conditions that prevent them from joining Nupeng or any recognized oil and gas union. Nupeng further accused Dangote of trying to establish a rival worker association. So these drivers are cut off from the usual collective bargaining rights. They claim, that's Nupeng, claims this undercuts union power and violates Nigerian labor law and international conventions. The government then stepped into the picture. Under pressure, there was the meeting further convened by the State Security Services, Labor, Finance Ministry, and the Dangote management. Now, a memorandum of understanding was signed with a promise to recognize the rights of workers, of these truck drivers, to unionize, and assurances against victimizations. But tensions didn't stop there. Just 2 days later, Nupeng raised another alarm, claiming Dangote has breached the agreement shortly after signing. As mentioned, just 2 days after that, especially when trucks without Nupeng stickers were reportedly allowed access, and when directives allegedly were given for the removal of union emblems on trucks. The union has threatened now to resume full industrial action. So today, we bring in a guest who would be talking with me about this. I'm speaking today with, well, a finance and economic analyst, Mukhtar Mohammed. He joins me virtually today on Homo Politicus. Mukhtar, many thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Kingsley. My pleasure.
Appreciate that. Well, the background has been set. Let's have the conversation now. What's your take on what's happening with the Dangote and Nupeng showdown? Dangote's business strategy is reportedly undermining workers' rights and weakening unions. That's what Nupeng is saying, and they are saying, oh well, this strategy could put too much power in the hands of a private corporation like Dangote in a sector that is critical to national interest. Some people say that, well, business innovation, efficiency, and competition are being stifled by unions like Nupeng, and that companies like Dangote have a right to manage the operation as long as that is within the law. What do you say?
Kingsley, you've hit the nail on the head already by saying if it is within the law, and that's where it stands. Unionism is optional. Anybody is free to join a union if you want to. It's not forceful to belong to any union. There are people that will tell you that they don't belong to the Nigerian Labour Congress. So it's optional. That is one. Secondly, Nupeng is talking about a monopoly. Are there not monopoly the union space in Nigeria also to be the only trade union organization that have deal with in the oil sector? We've seen that various people have various interests. They could all come up and people form their own union. And like I said, unionism is optional. And if I'm employing you as a private business and I give you my option and you think you like that option and you decide to go with it, I don't think it's my problem. It's none of my problem because you could have a right to say, look, I'm not going to take this job because I want to belong to Nupeng if you're stopping me from joining Nupeng. So it's optional, just like it's optional to take the job if you think they are not meeting your condition. So it's the same thing. So Nupeng have created themselves to be in the oil and gas sector. For so long, we have tolerated them. I think it's time to break them up because some of the crises that we've really suffered as average Nigerians is due to this Nupeng. You look sometimes see how these drivers drive on or drive even is what's causing a lot of accident along. When the last accident happened, was it driven by somebody that did not belong to Nupeng? Did we hear Nupeng come out where a life was lost? We never saw Nupeng come out to apologize or pay a sympathy visit to the family of those that lost their life. How much modality are there in terms of safety? So for me, I just think I actually just think the pen is driving their power too far. And this is a private organization, like you just said. It has the right. Look, Kingsley, if not because we don't have infrastructure or because NNPC have refused to take control of the infrastructure that they have, when we were not using tankers to transport vehicles and product from one town to another, from one state to another. It used to be you pump it from Port Harcourt to even as far as Sokoto. You just live it within the local government. At that time, they were not this powerful like they are claimed to be now. So definitely, they are also cashing on lack of infrastructure and other things to also become a monster to the people. For me, I'm totally in support. Journalism is optional.
So Mukhtar, from your point of view, this struggle really, it's not about union rights, but about who controls the profits and labor in the downstream petroleum sector. Do you think?
Just total, I think so. European can cry how they want. They say Dangote gift is a Greece gift. And I heard somebody saying if the Dangote are giving us a Greece gift, you give us Latin gift also. But Le Pen has never given us any gift. I'm telling you. Look, Kistu, you need to look at the genesis of the whole challenge, where it's coming from. Remember before now, Dangote came up with that procedure to also begin to supply, to take up the logistic from most of these oil marketing companies, the filling stations. And some people complain that it's taking business out of them. And we know those people. There are people that
Mukhtar, you there? Okay, bit tougher, the network glitch there. Hopefully Mukhtar can reconnect and the connection is stable enough to hear his point of view. He was just responding to my question following his first comment, regarding this situation. If really this struggle here is about union rights or about who controls the profit and labor in the downstream petroleum sector, this is a fundamental question because, those again who believe that both parties are fighting for their pocket, as they say. Some say, oh, this is a private business. Dangote is fighting for his business, or Dangote Refinery as a corporation is fighting for the survival of its business. And some say too that this union, that they're not necessarily fighting for the truck drivers or their members, that they too are fighting to control, to have control over some of the happenings in this downstream petroleum sector. But again, we're posing questions here. Would like to get your thoughts as well. Would want you to stop by the comment section and let us know what you think. We know that the State Security Services brokered the deal. That was sometime on Tuesday. What happened with that deal? Just 2 days later, thankfully, Mukhtar is back, connectivity better now. Mukhtar, you were just responding to what's been happening and who really is benefiting and what this struggle, what this showdown really is about.
Yes, like I said, the showdown is all about survivor for the Nupeng. I know, you have seen that Dangote is bringing about 430 trucks, and if this member does not join Nupeng, that is a reduction in terms of the numbers they will have. And also, you can also, in terms of monetary value, because being a member of the union, you must be a financial contributor to that organization. I think Nupeng is looking at if you allow Dangote, because Dangote is the major player in that sector now. And if you allow him not to allow their members to be part of Nupeng, that also will definitely bring down the power that Nupeng normally have, because again, a lot of those tankers driver will be employed by Dangote. I think that is one thing they are fighting. They are fighting their own survival, also as an organization. And I stand to be corrected if they are not fighting for their own survival as an organization. So that is one. Then secondly, again, you also have to look at the cabal that have made this sector for over 20 years. And these cabals are also, they are going to fight with whatever means they can. They can fight with anybody that they think they can fight with. So to get back to that stream, and I think Nupeng and Pegasus are making themselves available for that fight to happen. So for me, I am also fully in support of what Dangote has done. I'm not saying I'm supporting him because
Well, to be interesting to hear that last point, and his support of the Dangote refinery and petrochemical. Again, a bit of a connection challenge there. Hopefully, it can be stable as we continue the conversation. Yes. As mentioned, you can stop by the comment section. Let me know what you think as regards this particular conversation. The Dangote Nupeng feud is one that has really stirred controversy and divided, thoughts in different lines this past few days. But Mukta, thank you so much for reconnecting. Very, very quickly, this Tuesday, just on Tuesday, there was an agreement reached after after the first meeting. The strike first by Nupeng lasted 2 days. There was a meeting called by the Ministry of Labour and Employment. There were allegations, reports by Nupeng that representatives of Dangote Refinery walked out of that meeting. Well, another one was called, this time by the State Security Services. The deal was brokered, and according to reports, Dangote Refinery and Petrochemicals agreed to the reports from there, which made Nupeng call off the strike. How come, we're hearing reports again of a breach of that agreement? Do you think this is fair to the parties involved, even to the entire nation? And, does this not mean that Dangote Refinery and Petrochemicals would have breached the major agreement, considering this deal was brokered by representatives of the federal government?
Kingsley, I think I agree with you on that. I think they also have not acted well, Dangote themselves, if they broke that agreement. Because if you have an agreement, it was not forced on you. You agreed to that agreement. I think that agreement should be binding on both of you if you have agreed on it. So for me, I think Dangote also have not acted well if they broke any part of the agreement. But like I say, unionism is optional. I choose whether to be a part of your union or not. But as an organization, you cannot impose that on people, that people should not belong to a particular union if they choose to be. And then as a union, it shows so you should also be able to stand up for your own right and say, look, if you don't want me to be part of this union, I will not be an employee of you. So everybody has his own ways, his own way to play. But if you are not playing it, then the fault is not in with Dangote, or Dangote has been able to outwit them, and you and I know why that happened, because also they need a job to keep themselves going and that. So I think it's something that if Dangote have agreed to an agreement, I think they should stick to the agreement. I see no reason why you agree at an agreement, then the following day you are changing the goalpost. I don't think that is right. For integrity, for international best practice, that is not right. For the side of Nupeng, they should also begin to look at the ordinary Nigerians that normally suffer when you have these strikes. because as it stands now, we have seen relatively peace in spite of the high cost of petroleum products. We have seen that government has made more revenue, even if it's not coming, the people are not seeing it commensurate to what they should see. But again, we can't say that we have seen positivity where we used to see those money goes to some of these cabal that are now using the Nupeng as a springboard to fight Dangote refinery or the federal government. That's my personal opinion, because I believe that there are people that have been enjoying that sector for the past 20 years and they are out of it because of the advent of Dangote refinery, and they will do anything within their power to sabotage that refinery and that project.
Mukhtar, do you think really that there's the concern around monopoly in the petroleum in this downstream sector, the allegations of the fact that if we let Dangote do this, this could mean monopoly. This could mean he's going to be controlling the entire sector, and that is risky. Do you think there should be that concern is valid rather?
Kingsley, in business, they have this what they call the law of first. He who first comes in becomes like if he's monopolizing that sector until another player comes in. It has happened in every industry in the world. So what you call monopoly sometimes is the law of the first. Someone come in first. Now, we should not forget that Dangote came in when nobody was ready to play in that sector. Nobody was ready to build a refinery in Nigeria. Everybody did not see the efficiency or cost of building a refinery in Nigeria because they always feel that it was easier for them to import. Even the major marketers too felt the same thing. They didn't feel that there was need for them to build. We would have had refinery from Shell, from Total, from Mobi. These are big players in the Nigerian oil and gas sector. But they never did that. They allowed a newcomer to come in, and now you're trying to fight that newcomer. And you're talking about monopoly. It is the law of the first. Kingsley, remember the time we have the telecom company. We have when the first two came in, they said they cannot do per second. When the third one came in, he said, look, I'm starting with per second. All of a sudden, competition came in, and everybody went to per second. So Dangote will enjoy that monopoly for now. But Kingsley, you and I know that other players are coming. They might not get the kind of support that Dangote got during his own time because of, and then federal government through the CBN supply a lot of efforts for him to build that refinery. It still comes down to the law of the first. The first to start, the first to have all the full support. We have the Boa refinery coming on stream. We have Watersmith refinery already on stream. We have other modular refinery already on stream. But Dangote is a big player, and he's also looking at the future. You see, when you are a business, you evolve. You are looking at the future, and one of the future, the way that people will continue to patronize it is looking at the logistics side. Remove that cost off the people. It's all a marketing strategy. He didn't have to bring in 30 CNG, the truck. Don't forget that Nigerian government have been promising on CNG buses for how many years now, second year running. I don't think we've gotten up to 100. And yes, an individual bringing 400 CNG trucks.
4,000.
So it just tells you that the man knows what he's doing.
4,000 compressed natural gas trucks. Well, that's novel. Especially a new one, really, especially within this sector. Well, let's piggyback, Mukhtar, a little bit on this issue of unionization, if you like, of unionism. Nupeng is at the center of this, right? If they didn't raise the alarm, maybe not a lot of persons would have known, at least not at this stage, that Dangote engaging with these truck drivers, was going to get them to, sign a certain agreement that would force them not to unionize. But what really is the implication from your point of view, what the implications, not just for workers, but for the industry and regulation in Nigeria when it comes to creating a parallel union? Does that benefit the industry? Would that benefit businesses in the country? Would that benefit Nigerians? Who's supposed to benefit from this feud, this showdown?
Kingsley, in this showdown that is happening now, if it happens, you say when two elephants fight, the grass suffer. But sometimes the grass doesn't really suffer in the oil and gas sector. For a while now, when two elephants fight, the grass enjoy, because again, you are fighting Dangote to make sure that supplies are not done. Yes, they say supplies should be handled by them. They want to keep most of them out of business. That's the whole idea why they are fighting Dangote. So now the impact is going to be very minimal, like I said, but I'm not saying it will not happen. There will be that shock, especially in areas whereby the tankers driver has become the lord and king in terms of supply in states like far north, north central, northeast, especially. So you could see those challenges there. But this is not the first time we are seeing things like this. When they were on strike, they came up, other body came up that they have another union called the Union of Professors or the Union None. So everybody seems when you are fighting to break the union, you try to go in their midst and cause confusion. I think that is another strategy for whether government or private sector that normally they do that. But for me, I think unionism is optional, like I said, and I don't think it's necessary for anybody to break the back of union because sometimes they are the ones that fight for the rights of their workers. But like I said, if you're a worker and they are telling you not to sign a bond to belong to a particular union, you should not begin to think that why should I be there if you are really serious about the union, knowing that the union are the one that protect you. You shouldn't even sign. So there's no harm that if Dangote have 4,000 CNG buses and nobody's ready to sign because he's saying they will not become union, that will not buy at the long run say, okay, don't worry, just come, you can join your unionism. But if you have 4,000 CNG buses and 3,000 are ready to run without union, it's just 100 people that are feeling that we must join the union. Then why will you be forcing yourself? So I think it's all, like I said, Nupeng is fighting for their life because none of them have 4,000 trucks. I can tell you, even the independence marketer or the major marketer, but one individual have 4,000 trucks is going to be supplying to every part of Nigeria. It's going to get a lot of people out of business. And so I think that's the challenge with why Nupeng is fighting. For me, I think they're trying to protect the job for their own staff and also making sure that whoever is staff of Dangote, being a big player, must be part of Nupeng. For me, that's what I think is happening.
Well, there's the place of the law too in this entire picture. But yes, we know that Nupeng has threatened. They've told their members, they put their members on alert and told them, just wait, okay? We'll let you know if you should, down tools, if the country would suffer another, fuel crisis, fuel scarcity crisis following this. They have threatened to down tools. But we know too that there's been a call again for that meeting, a reconvening of that meeting so that, they can have further conversations. Well, Mukhtar, we thought this was fixed when that agreement was reached on Tuesday. On Thursday, we heard again this problem. What, from your point of view, is a solution to this? How do we resolve this? Not temporarily for maybe 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, as we saw, this week, but permanently. Oh, by the way, do you think there'll be a permanent solution to this?
Kingsley, there won't be a permanent solution because this will always come and go. Because again, you are looking at now we are fighting that you are stopping members to become members, not to become members. Very soon we'll be talking about remuneration, salaries are not paid, where allowances are not paid, and so all those are continuous issues that you get when you as a labor, which for me I don't think is anything bad. That can continue. But what I keep saying is that if they have to have an agreement, they have to dialogue. If they know the nature of Nupeng, of the oil and gas sector, of Dangote to our economy, I don't think they should be wasting time in not dialoguing and finding middle ground. But like I said, the middle ground, the Nupeng should know and Dangote should know is that unionism is optional. You should not force anybody out of it or force anybody to join union. So for me, that should be the sincere place they should start with. And then from there, they can take it to every other place in terms of elimination, in terms of making sure that everybody is a What we have now in terms of solution to the problem is for both Dangote and the Nupeng executive to meet and then iron out their differences midwife by the Ministry of Labor. And also, if you want to have the DSS, remember, like you said, maybe Dangote do not respect Ministry of Labor. When it came to the Ministry of Labor, they walked out of the meeting, but with the DSS, they saw the meeting to a conclusion. So maybe that's what we should be thinking about.
Oh, well, they didn't say so. Reported that, it was reported that they walked out of the meeting. I don't know if they have respect, if they do respect the Ministry of Labor and Employment or not. But there have been questions too as to why it was the state security services that brokered the deal, right? Is this the major security concern in the country? Because their job is security, right? They are called the secret police. Why is the secret police in the country the one broken a deal between Dangote and Nupeng? Well, there are talks about that, but some persons have looked away from that too to say we just want the problem fixed. Let's not have a crisis on our hands. Mukhtar, let's wrap the conversation now. I'd like to get your final thought on this matter. I know you've made your recommendation, but yes, your final thought as we proceed, as we wrap the conversation and continue to follow this development. Mukhtar, you there? All right, it sounds like that final thought would not come. But yes, we heard Mukhtar, his point of view on this matter, and indeed the recommendation he made. He did say too that there might not be a permanent solution to this because, well, there will continue to be fights for rights. Remember that this conversation essentially is about union rights and corporate control. Yes, Dangote refinery and petrochemical on one side seeking corporate control of the truck drivers, of workers who will be working with them as they look to launch these 4,000 compressed natural gas trucks that would be supplying fuel stations in the country directly. And Nupeng, that's the Nigerian Union of Petroleum natural gas workers in the country, saying, well, this should not happen. First, you can't be forcing workers to sign an agreement not to join new unions, and you're looking to create a parallel union. They say they don't want that. They say that's against laws, labor laws, and indeed international conventions which Nigeria is signatory to. We'll continue to follow this development. We'll see what happens with this, what happens with this particular development, and how this would maybe positively, hopefully not negatively, affect the petroleum downstream sector. Well, it's been Homo Politicus. I'd like to thank you for being a part of the show. Stop by the comment section, let me know what you think, and we'll be there reading and responding. Kingsley Bass is my name. We say, may God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye for now.